Welcome to F.O.D. Overdrive, the podcast that keeps you up on your Friday nights. We're a three-man team that also has a weekly conservative terrestrial program from 3 to 5 p.m. on 94.9 News Now WJJF in Connecticut, Long Island, and Rhode Island called Freedom on Deck. To live stream the station and to listen to our program on Sundays, go to FreedomOnDeck.com and click Listen Live, or listen to all of our back shows of Freedom on Deck and FOD Overdrive. It's all there for you. On the site, you can get daily updated news, contributions from Chet Martin, that's me, Lee Elsey from The Lee Elsey Show, Julio Rivera from The Reactionary Times, and Alex Newman from The New American. I'm Chet Martin, joined by Brian Burrow. Brian, say what's up to everybody.
How you doing, everybody? I'm glad to be here.
And C.V. Burton.
Hello, Gracie.
Hi, lady. We've got a pretty interesting show. No guests lined up like last week. You know, we like to keep it guest-free on the podcast. We're going to start off with Trump walking away from the infrastructure deal because the Democrats are unhinged. We're going to talk about Central American towns emptying as migrants rush to the border for loopholes. We're going to talk about American Taliban John Walker Lynn to be released from federal prison, and also a possible pardon for Edward Gallagher, and Hillary's all up in arms about that. We've got the last topic, which will be New York Times piece says pregnancy kills and abortion saves lives. I'll tell you guys something. This abortion issue has brought the evil out of the left like I've never seen before. It is sickening. I don't know if you guys saw on Wednesday, but that rally they had in Oregon was absolutely disgusting. And I almost lost my lunch a few times there, but we'll get into that. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's from collusion delusion to obstruction destruction to cover up chaos. Now, our president, Donald J. Trump, is outraged after Speaker Pelosi, Negative Nancy and her depends, and Chuckles the Clown come out and claim that he's involved in a massive cover-up. You see, it went from collusion to obstruction to now a cover-up. President Trump ended a meeting before it really even started that was supposed to address infrastructure, which, listen, for me, a conservative fiscally, I really never wanted that to happen anyway, but we'll get into that at another time. And he said to an address to the nation in the Rose Garden that the Democrats can go down the path of investigations or the path of investment. He's the best guy to get it done. The Democrats are nervous about what Bill Barr is about to blow the lid off of, in my opinion. And this is a last-ditch effort to throw a monkey wrench in President Trump's re-election bid. There are two camps in the Democrat side, Brian. And in this party, there's the one on the extreme left that wants to impeach the president. And let's be honest, there's the Pelosi camp that thinks that they shouldn't go for impeachment, but she's so weak and feckless that she's kowtowing to these extreme leftists, Bri, and she's not willing to stand up. She knows damn well that this is going to thwart any chance of them taking back the White House. What do you think about what happened on Wednesday?
I mean, look, Nancy Pelosi's a joke. The whole Democratic Party is a joke. I mean, like you said, just before, it was collusion now, and then it went to obstruction, but that wasn't there. So now it's cover up. It's cover. What are you covering up? Yeah. What the hell is being covered up? If there was no collusion and there was no obstruction, what's being covered up? That you're a bunch of assholes? I mean, that's not a cover-up.
No, it's not a cover-up. CV, they seem to be on the ropes right now. That's my opinion. I think that what has been the big turnaround with Bill Barr has got their panties in a wad. What do you think about that?
If I was the Trump administration or Trump, I would say, look, you show me a crime that's been committed, a specific crime, and how it implicates me or anybody on my team, and then maybe I'll comply with you. Until then, take a long walk off a short pier. So I'm proud of my president for walking out of that meeting. You know, and I'm all for infrastructure. I don't see anything wrong with it. That's the only two things I want my government to do is national security and infrastructure. Everything else is a scam.
No, infrastructure is a scam too. The way the Democrats treat it, believe me.
Oh yeah,
New York,
I know, right? I know.
You know, it's like New York. We've spent the most on infrastructure. Do you guys like our roads on Long Island?
Oh, they're wonderful.
No, because
they're just absolutely fantastic.
They way overpay so that they can fatten the wallets of the unions and their donors and all that. But if it was done cleanly, if it was done properly, you would want your government to keep the roads nice and our airports clean.
Yeah, you would hope so.
Yeah, but they don't do that. And like CV's saying, you know, all this prevailing wage because of the unions and whatnot, it's ridiculous. And now, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've noticed this. More construction being performed on the weekends. Do you know what what kind of money they have to pay out to have guys working on the weekends?
Yeah.
I can't even and the road work out here right now is unbelievable out in the east end of Long Island. It's every day. Every day.
Wait till May to do that.
You always see like five guys standing around eating a sandwich and one guy drilling.
No, this is no bullshit, guys. Out in East Hampton, for those of you that are listening outside of the New York area, we're from the east end of Long Island. That's where the show's located, broadcast out through New London and into Rhode Island. But I'm serious. There were two guys holding a sign. Two of them. I couldn't believe it. I honestly couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, I honked my horn because I was so offended. I'm like, there's two guys holding a slow down sign? Come on, man. But Brian,
there's always one nice chick, waving you on. Thank you.
Yeah, usually.
I know which way I'm going, but yeah.
But, Brian, this is what the president said on Wednesday when he spoke in the Rose Garden. He said, I walked into the room and I told Senator Schumer and Speaker Pelosi, I want to do infrastructure, but we can't do it under these circumstances. Brian, is that the right attitude for the president to take?
Absolutely, it's the attitude for the president to take. It's nonsense. Why should this president consider any sort of concession to the Democratic Party on what they want when they don't want to concede to anything? They have these investigations going on. They're not playing fair, and and they're just making fools of themselves. Why should he concede to anything that they want? They want they want all these different programs for infrastructure, and and it's a joke. The whole thing's a joke. You want him to give all these different programs and money to you, but yet you won't let up on the guy.
What's coming down the pike, CV? We got Bill Barr. What the hell is he up to? Are they just trying to cover up their tracks at this point?
Well, we got Durham and we got the IG Horowitz. Let's see what comes out. I think Barr is a sober, serious man, and I think he's going to get to the bottom of it. And he got a little bit of a taste, not a little bit. He got a big taste of the venom that the Democrats have been spewing out at Donald Trump. So now he knows firsthand what they're capable of, what evil they're up to. So I think, if anything, you shouldn't be poking a bear like Barr, because he's gonna bite.
And Brian, it goes to show that the Democrats really didn't give a damn about getting anything done with infrastructure, did they?
No, they weren't looking to get anything done. Listen, why did they go and have a meeting right before they were going to do this infrastructure meeting? Behind closed doors, they knew what they were doing. And then they had a closed door meeting. What was it, on Tuesday with Brennan? I believe it was Tuesday with Brennan. Brennan doesn't even have a job. What's he doing in the room?
He's on CNN. Isn't he?
Give me a break.
Isn't he contributing to CNN right now?
Well, he sucks.
Wasn't
Comey
in the hot seat too the other day? 2 or 3 days ago?
Well, it was him and I think Brennan that started to prod each other, saying that they were both at fault for the misinformation that came out with the dossier.
Yeah.
You remember we talked about it on the terrestrial program.
All these closed doors testimonies going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's all these little but it's not closed door testimonies. It's all these little backdoor meetings with people like Brennan and Comey and whatnot. Because really, in my personal opinion, I think they're just trying to get their story straight. I think they're trying to get ahead of William Barr.
You're probably right. I mean, there's definitely an extent of truth.
They're not going to get ahead of William Barr because he's after the truth, and lies contradict themselves by nature. That's the beautiful thing about lies, is that they don't last very long. They start to unravel.
No,
and you forget the lies that you tell,
exactly.
too.
They forget them before they make up the next lie. It's like embarrassing.
I know, they don't even make sense on the face of it.
All right, let's do a little word from the sponsor. We got to move on to another topic. I'm sick of this topic anyway. Oh, by the way, Joy Behar said all the Republicans should be thrown in jail over this on Wednesday. She's a fantastic pig.
And all the lefties should be thrown in rubber rooms.
Yeah, they should. Listen, folks, are you getting frustrated with the trusted conservative sites and magazines turning left? Do you really want to read Bill Kristol in the National Review? Is the Weekly Standard supporting our president enough? I don't think so. Instead, go to thenewamerican.com and get your subscription to the New American magazine. You missed the 51% discount, but it's still a really great publication. You can get both the magazine and online subscriptions, reading pro-Trump, truly conservative contributors like our good friend to the show, Alex Newman, who will be on, I think, not this week, but the following week, and Bill Hahn, who's been on the program many times, and so many others. Go to the newamerican.com and get yourself signed up for the New American magazine. You won't regret it. We're going to be talking about these Central American towns emptying as migrants rush to the U.S. border loopholes. And I don't know if you guys read anything about this, but Guatemala's towns are emptying out as a growing number of migrants head north to accept the Democratic Party's offer of open border loopholes and low-wage jobs. A growing number of local reports say so. Roughly 1% of Guatemala's population has migrated to the United States of America since September 2018, according to the Department of Homeland Security. That adds up to roughly 170,000 migrants alone from Guatemala, and roughly 1/3 of those migrants come from neighboring rural districts of San Marcos. The result of the U.S. government policies is that many villages are left with empty homes, fatherless families, absent men, and minimal investment. And this is coming from the Wall Street Journal. Guatemala, Gloria Vasquez. This is a story for everybody listening out there. Miss Vasquez is used to saying goodbye to 4 of her 6 siblings who have migrated to the U.S., and she, too, is thinking about heading north with her 9-year-old daughter. Miss Vasquez said her 4 siblings in the U.S. are encouraging her to join them. Her daughter, Helen Ixchel, likes to teach language and mathematics to fellow children. She wants to learn English and become a teacher. I'm a bit scared about going to the United States after hearing all the news about the suffering of migrants at the border, but it's my daughter's greatest dream, Miss Vasquez said. Now, I want to talk about this because it's not being talked about on right-leaning radio, and it needs to be. There's a record number of cockroaches coming through our southern border right now. There are 250,000 waiting in some of these holding facilities that are going to be released into Florida. 250,000. 170,000 from Honduras alone. We know who established themselves in Honduras, the MS-13 street gang. We've got record numbers coming across. We have facilities where they cannot hold these people anymore. We have children dying in these facilities, and guess why? Because they're coming to the United States with untreatable diseases. The media is saying it's flu. Bullshit. It is not flu when you have kids dying in these facilities and our ICE agents that they're not equipped to handle this shit right now. And you've got some. This comes from Nancy Pelosi. She tweeted this on Wednesday, guys. Condolences to the family of Carlos Hernandez Vasquez, the fifth child to die in CBP custody since December, and a grim reminder of the human cost of this administration's extreme failed policies on our southern border. So this is a real mess right now. And I don't know why it's not being looked at or talked about, guys. But Brian, what the hell is happening on our southern border, and why aren't we deputizing more ex-police and more ex-military to handle this shit?
Well, I'll tell you this. You know what they're trying to do. They're trying to paint this picture. Plenty of kids died during the Obama administration on the border too, but they don't want to report that. And let's face it. We all know how the flu does not happen during warmer months. I mean, rarely, yes, you could get it in the summertime. Very rare. It's very rare. It's a cold weather, illness. So don't tell me that somebody coming up from Guatemala is dying of the flu at the border. If anything, it's probably very contagious, communicable diseases that are serious that they don't want to release to the public, because if it got out to the public, people would be up in arms. You have typhus and the bubonic plague that is rearing its head in California, San Francisco, San Diego. It's like, come on. And that's already here in this country. And that's from a totally different scenario. So, this whole deal with the border, yeah, we do need to put some more men and women on the border. Absolutely. And I think that, it's going to be a tough road ahead, because the Democrats are not going to let that happen easily.
What do we do about these numbers coming across, CV?
Well, we have Obama holdouts in the Department of DHS, obviously, because they're supposed to be releasing them back into Mexico, not into San Diego and other parts of our country. That's number one. Number two is, I don't blame the people who are trying to get in here. Yeah, she wants to be a school teacher, isn't that sweet? But I don't blame them, because if I was in their shoes, I would want to come to America. The problem is the Democrats are making making America a magnet to these people. So yeah, it's going to hollow out all the third world countries, because they're all going to want to come here, thanks to the socialist globalists in our own country, the enemy within.
Why has this been greatly ignored by both sides of the aisle, Brian?
Because I think it's a difficult topic to legislate. Because it's not just about, listen, you could write all the laws you want. A law doesn't mean shit if you can't enforce it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you could make all the law, you could ban guns tomorrow. If nobody gives up their guns, then how are you enforcing the law that you made? It makes no sense. It doesn't work. So, when it comes to immigration, it's a tough one, because it's very hard to police people. One, you're allowing people in. Let's just take the legal processes. You have a visa program, okay? Either a work visa or, a student visa or something like that. You're allowing this person to set their feet on American soil. You don't have an ankle bracelet on that person, so it's hard to enforce them not overstaying their visa when their visa expires. And then you have to hunt these people down and find out where they are and all this other stuff. And let's face it, we have a gigantic country. It's hard to police that. So now you take illegal immigration and you add that into the mix, how do you enforce illegal immigration other than to strengthen the border like Donald J. Trump, our president, has talked about doing? Putting up a border fence, wall, whatever you want to call it, but having a physical barrier on top of other technology, thermal imaging cameras, drones, higher numbers of border security, border patrol, and homeland security. That's the way that you take this approach, because you really can only stop people from coming in. If you could stop people from coming in or drastically reduce that flow down to a minimum number, then you can deal with the other people that are here.
All right, if you're sending 250,000 of these illegals into Florida in the Jacksonville area, that is changing a demographic in a big way. That's a worry to me, because we know that they vote in these elections. If you lose Florida because they're ushering in, let's say they do 250,000 this month, and then in a couple months they do another 250,000. You're talking about 500,000. Now, if you can get some of these illegals to go in and vote Democrat, that's an issue for us. I hate to tell you folks this. This needs to be stopped like yesterday. I don't know what the answer is. I know the wall can't be built overnight. People tell me it's being thrown up in San Diego. I've seen a few pictures. I haven't seen anything more than that. I understand that the Democrats are going to dig their heels in the sand, and they're not going to let any of this stuff happen. I don't know what the answer is, but anything that the president can do. No, there's no but, because they're coming in. Okay,
right,
they're here. It's a record number now. The numbers are higher than they were with Obama, and the reason is because it's funded by Soros and the New World Order pieces of shits that want to take over this country, and that's the way they're going to do it. We need to put a stop to it somehow.
I understand that.
Or we'll be paying for it.
And I'm agreeing with you, and that's why, to my point, we need those physical barriers. If 250,000 people come up from Central America this month, okay, and you don't have a physical barrier to stop those people, you could deport 250,000 people out of this country, the very next day, and
they can come right back. I know that.
It didn't do anything.
I know that. We need the wall.
Right.
But when are we getting the wall?
Well, I mean, it's being built, but the problem is that like CV was saying, is that you have a lot of Obama holdovers, and you also have a lot of Obama holdovers.
No, I know that.
In the Army Corps of Engineers, and they are really taking their sweet time putting this fence up.
So CV is part of draining the swamp, getting these holdovers the hell out of there.
Oh,
I mean, man,
100%. But also, we need ID laws, voting ID laws. That's important. Another thing is to cut out this welfare and free schooling and free healthcare for immigrants. That's a magnet, and we got to get the wall up. And I've seen barbed wire. I've seen troops on the border. I think our border patrol are very keen on keeping them out. But like I said, there are people in the DHS who are dragging their feet, giving just being spiteful. Catching them and releasing them in the country, knowing damn well they're just going to blend right in. They're never going to show up for their court cases or anything like that.
No.
It's a travesty, and Trump wants to fix it. Be assured of that. He wants to fix it. He needs our support. So if anything,
I know that.
If anything, this is not the time to flake out on Trump. It's the time to support him even more. I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you're flaking out on him. I'm just saying I
just want the problem solved. I'm not even talking about Trump. I'm talking about the issue. When you got 250,000 that are they're being released into Florida, it's happening. There's no discussing it. It's happening.
Yeah.
So, that's a problem. And I mean, we have to address it. So I want to go to another commercial, and then we'll come back with our next topic. We have another sponsor. It's a motorsports team. Midget Motorsports is a family-owned and operated NASCAR modified team based out of East Hampton, New York. You'll see them full-time at Riverhead Raceway, also part-time schedule on the NASCAR Wheelin' Modified Tour. Good old number 4, Corey Midget, who is the driver, entered full-body cars in the Charger division at Riverhead in 2012, and he won Rookie of the Year and won a total of 4 races in 4 years. That's a lot of races. It's their 4th year in the modified division. The family, Brian Sr., Michael, Brian Jr., and Corey, rely on outside donations. If you're interested in helping this Trump-supporting race team, contact Brian Sr. at the number 516-236-8498, or you can go to freedomondeck.com and look at their page, which is linked on the Midget Motorsports car. Just click on the car. All profits go to Corey's ability to continue racing. You'll see the Freedom on Deck logo on the car this season in Connecticut and Long Island, along with the Trump sticker and flag. Did you guys see that the porn lawyer stole money from Stormy Daniels? Did you guys see that?
She must have not gave him good enough head.
Yeah, Avenatti, there was like this book deal for her, and I guess he funneled it through his lawyer. He ended up stealing like, I don't know, a couple $100,000 from. They said I was watching on Fox News a few days ago. They said all the combined crimes that he's loaded up on himself, which also included an extortion of Nike, add up to 404 years. That's how much that guy could possibly get. Wow. I mean, the porn lawyer. And can you guys believe that guy for a while was like a regular on CNN? It was like every night. And he wanted to run for president. And I remember seeing Wolf Blitzer saying he'd make a hell of a candidate.
Wolf.
But President Trump is the loose cannon, right? Yeah.
He's the only adult in the room.
Yeah, especially these room full. Well, like you said, they should all be in the rubber room, right?
You could steal anything from Stormy Daniels. You could even steal her soul, but you can't steal her virginity because that was gone long ago.
Or her fake boobies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could steal those too.
I tell you.
Go ahead, Brian.
I was gonna say. I'll tell you. If you guys want to know what the climate of the country is, you go on social media and look what the comments on these articles. Look at the comments and what people are saying. People are absolutely fed up with this nonsense, man. Fed up with it.
Absolutely, and these unsavory characters are all part of it. I mean, you can go down the laundry list of just bizarros like the porn lawyers, Stormy Daniels, Michael Cohen, and even some of our elected officials that just can't let the president do his job, and they're constantly, I don't even think he had sex with her, to be honest with you. I saw a story the other day that she admitted that they never had a tryst. I think all this is bullshit. I just think that they've all been in on this big, massive extortion of this man, and it's pretty pathetic. But I wanted to talk about a story that's really got me up in arms, and it's about the early release of this Islamic militant who became known as the infamous American Taliban member. And Rep. Michael Waltz from Florida made the comments on Fox and Friends a day before John Walker Lind, piece of shit, is expected to emerge from a federal prison in Indiana. Waltz, who also served as a counterterrorism advisor to Vice President Dick Cheney, says it's bad enough that Lind was only given 20 years after being found guilty of joining and supporting the Taliban. He shouldn't be on parole at all, Waltz told Fox and Friends. He should be in prison for life. He's a traitor. Lind, who is currently behind bars in Terre Haute, Indiana, is set to be discharged Thursday. So that already happened. Several years before he would complete the prescribed 20-year prison sentence, the former Islamist fighter and enemy combatant named Detainee 001 on the War on Terror, was arrested in 2001, just months after the September 11th attacks and the start of the war in Afghanistan, along with a group of Taliban fighters who were captured by the U.S. forces. I'm going to go to Brian first. I saw a few interviews with this guy, Lind. He's got this faux Arabic, type of talk that he's using. He uses terms that Al-Qaeda uses. He hasn't disavowed Al-Qaeda. He actually says he still believes in their cause. And Brian, he was released.
Well, it's what's the difference, man? Obama let him go. I guess the only difference is this guy's in the streets of America, and the ones that Obama released in trade for Bergdahl, are over there in the Middle East. So
to kill our troops over there.
Right. I mean, it's bad either way. Yeah, I don't understand why we as a country have taken this very soft approach to treason and to all different types of stuff, the heinous crimes against our country. But I mean, you go and you join a terrorist organization like the Taliban. In my opinion, they should have strung them up.
Absolutely.
Bring back public hanging.
Absolutely. CV, they used to back in the 1930s or 40s at the end of World War II in the late 40s, when we knew that you went to fight with Adolf Hitler and the SS, we brought you back and we strung you up.
Yep. The problem is there's so many activist judges involved in our country today, letting people go when they don't deserve to be let go, or putting slapping big fines on bakers because they won't bake a cake, for a gay wedding and things like that. And this other judge yesterday or a couple days ago saying, it's okay for banks to release Trump's personal financial records. That is total bullshit. This,
Yeah, where's the warrant on that, CV?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
What happened to the Fourth Amendment?
Where's the crime that even justifies doing these things? Releasing records like that. What are they investigating? Where's the crime? It should be brought to the Supreme Court and they should rule on it.
I think Trump should sue them. I think
Absolutely.
Trump should sue them. Absolutely.
100%.
Sue that judge.
Sue
that
everybody.
Judge.
They're all out of order.
Well, but think about that judge, though.
What's the crime that Trump committed? What? He didn't release his... He doesn't have to release his taxes. They want these taxes released. I want everyone else's taxes released. What is it? Let's be transparent. If you're going to go out and demand the president's taxes, demand the Clinton Foundation's taxes, which we've never seen, they stole money from Haiti.
They can't even articulate their suspicions. Where's the smoking gun that justifies banks releasing American citizens' personal financial records? That's an outrage. It's a total outrage. Right. It's an affront to the Fourth Amendment. Illegal siege and searches, or whatever you call it.
That's right. And you have to have a warrant. A judge has to sign off on that, and in order to sign off on a warrant to seize bank records, there would have to be either a crime, or there would have to be evidence of a crime, or you would have to have something.
Here's their evidence: Orange Man bad, Orange Man mean, Orange Man.
That's racist. You can't say Orange Man. That's making fun of the color of his skin.
They don't care about it. As long as it's making fun of us, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm on Facebook banned for saying white trash on Facebook.
Why don't they just call us the Orange People? We are the Orange people because we support the Orange Man, so we must all be the Orange People now.
Goo 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 choo. But then, on the other side of the aisle, former Secretary of State and failed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton said it's grotesque that President Donald J. Trump is considering pardoning some U.S. service members accused of war crimes.
You know what's grotesque? Her face is grotesque.
It is grotesque. Clinton tweeted Monday night, "This is grotesque," along with a link to New York Times article about several service members, including Navy SEAL Chief Eddie Gallagher and Army Major Matthew Goldstein, whom Trump is considered pardoning, and he's going to, by the way, guys. That's going to be a nice surprise for all the veterans on Veterans Day. And, you know, I'm Memorial Day, I'm sorry, on Memorial Day, and I'm just so aghast by this woman. You know, what Eddie Gallagher did was not a war crime. You know, this man, this Navy SEAL, he was charged with a premeditated murder, accused of stabbing and killing a critically wounded ISIS fighter. But if you look at the plea, he pleaded not guilty, and this guy was actually attacking him. Now, Eddie Gallagher was blackballed by his uppers in the military and in the Navy because he ran a tight ship, and it was under the direction of Barack Hussein Obama. And for that reason, he was blackballed. And for Hillary Clinton not to say a damn word about Mr. John Lind, who went to fight for the Taliban, but to get up in arms over Eddie Gallagher, that's a disgrace, Brian.
Of course it is. She's a hypocrite. You know, hey Hillary, you want to know what is grotesque? Your husband raping young girls on at Jeff Epstein's island. That's grotesque.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, talk about the kettle calling the pot black. You know, this woman she's just totally out of touch with reality. You know,
she's pathetic.
When you look at what's gone on with our service members, these men are put into the most hostile, dangerous positions around the world. They are behind some of the most deadly places that you could ever want to be, and for them to be on that constant guard of everybody wants to kill us, and we don't know who, because they all walk around with freaking hijabs and burqas and shit. You know, it's a stressful situation. And you got some guy that's trying to kill you. Come on, think about if somebody came into your home and tried to kill you and your family in your home. You know what I mean? If they were wounded, trust me, I'm gonna make sure to finish the job.
Mm-hmm. It's like the last gentleman that President Trump pardoned. You know, everybody attacked that guy for being a war criminal when all he did was defend his fellow soldiers. This guy set up roadside bombs. He was interrogating him. The guy went for his gun. He ended up shooting him. And then, this is what Obama's military turned into. Yeah. This is the rules of engagement, CV. This is the way we treat our honored military men and women. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, I was talking about Alan West a couple of episodes ago, and I said Adam West. No, I wasn't talking about Batman. I was talking about Alan West, the guy who was a congressman for 2 years. Mm-hmm. But anyway, you know what's grotesque, Hillary? Spear cooking. Why don't you drink more mixed body fluids, Hillary? You disgusting pig.
But nobody supports you, Hillary. All right, guys, we're going to do one last commercial, then one last topic. So, the John Birch Society, you guys know what that is.
Yep.
They helped America elect President Ronald Reagan in 1980 and President Donald J. Trump in 2016. They've rallied the conservative base for over 50 years. Go to jbs.org and join up and receive a good conservative group behind you. JBS has affiliates like the New American Magazine, American Opinion Foundation, Freedom Project Media, and Freedom Project Academy. Print membership is only $87. Digital membership is only $47. It's worth your time. Get involved with the John Birch Society. We all are, and it's well worth it, and it'll be well worth it for you. So, I wanted to get into abortion, guys, because this is This is wackadoodle central right now for the Democrats, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the New York Times launched a full court press on behalf of the abortion industry with an op-ed titled "Pregnancy Kills, but Abortion Saves Lives." It was written by Warren M. Hearn, who specializes in performing late-term abortions, which means ripping babies apart. The article asserts that every pregnancy poses a serious health risk to the mother. Pregnancy always comes with some irreducible risk of death, Dr. Hearn warns, whereas abortion can be life-saving. In his essay, Dr. Hearn is reacting to the new Alabama law that significantly limits abortions in the state, suggesting that what legislators are restricting is a life-saving procedure. Alabama's new law claims that it does not prohibit abortion if there's a reasonable medical judgment that the pregnancy possesses a serious health risk to the woman, Hearn notes. But pregnancy itself poses a serious health risk, including the risk of dying and losing all bodily functions. So here's his argument, Brian, and I could keep on going, but this article actually gets much more disgusting, and I don't want our listeners to vomit in their mouth. This man basically is saying, this man is basically asserting that all pregnancies are dangerous for the women and they should all be aborted. That's what he's saying.
That's a lie. That's a lie. And, and they're all going to, right now, the way that the country is, everyone's going to pander to their side. My cousin the other day put a post up on Facebook about the whole abortion thing and the Alabama laws and everything else and the Constitution and whatnot. And I kind of made my comment and backed out, and I was kind of watching how everybody else was reacting, and it was mixed. It was, I would say it was probably 50-50. And but I got to thinking about it afterwards, in the last couple of days, and I really feel like it comes down to morality. That's really what it comes down to, and you don't have to be religious in order to be a moral person. And, and when it comes down to morality, it's a right versus wrong, position. And, I'm sorry, but I just have a problem with with killing a child inside the womb, and our society has really marched toward this just lack of sanctity for life. These video games that they're coming out with, where people are the first person shooter and you're going and you're killing people. The movies that are coming out. I mean, look at all the school shootings that we have. I mean, these school shootings started because, if you show no value for life, then people are not going to respect life.
Right. Good point.
All right. The issue here for me is, I think what's happening here is a good thing with these abortion ban bills. Because what I think can happen here is it can spur on a bill or a check for the Supreme Court to go against Roe versus Wade, right? And I think that's I ultimately think that's what's trying to be done here on our side of the aisle, is that we want to check back on that, because the right to life is much more important than a woman's right to choose. Okay, now that does not mean that I'm anti-woman, or that I don't understand that women have certain rights. It is not your body, though. A body inside of your body is a body, and that is science. Okay, ladies, let's be careful here. When you say a parasite has no rights, I would say a slut has no brains. Okay? Well, go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to kind of harp on what you're saying, because they talk about it's my body, my choice. Well, okay, so it's your choice to terminate your child's life in the womb. How come you can't terminate your child's life out of the womb?
Right. Well, that's where, see, this is the thin line that we're talking about here. the Democrats are almost pushing towards that point. I heard one sitting rep, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He's a black Democrat, and he said, kill him now or kill him later. Did you guys hear this guy?
Yeah, I heard him.
He said, kill him now or kill him later. That's a hell of a way to think. And, I hear a lot of the black liberal side, I will say it, that come out and say, well, what are you going to do to support the kids that are on welfare? And then you complain that they're in the system. So their argument is that because someone might have a tough life, that there is no value to them, which is absolute bullshit, because there have been plenty of prominent Americans and people throughout the world in general that have had a tough upbringing that become very successful in their lives. And it's embarrassing that they even make that argument, CV.
I hate red herring arguments where they say, well, if they take the exception of the rule and they make that the rule for everybody.
Right.
Abortion saves lives. Yeah, maybe in a fraction of a percent, not even a minuscule fraction of a fraction. I mean, it almost never happens, especially when you're talking about aborting a child that's like come to term, ready to be born. At that point, the woman's life is not at risk at all. It never happens.
It's a selfish choice. It's something that the Democrats are going to try to they're hanging their hats on the fact that a lot of the women are pro-choice and that are not pro-life, and that's just not true. They don't pay attention to the fact that it's actually 60, I think they said 65% of women, Brian, that are pro-life.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, come on, women bring life into the world. I mean, it's beautiful. You know what I mean? It's not something that's terrible. It's not something that's ugly. It's beautiful. I mean, and if you ever look at the science behind labor and a woman's body and how her body transforms into getting ready to have a child, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it's unbelievable how women can bring life into the world. But something that I wanted to touch on is that the other day I was at work. It was getting towards the end of the day, and I seen an article come up as I was writing up a ticket, and I was kind of going in between Facebook and finishing this call. And it was an article from the New York Post, and I'm going to put it up on freedomondeck.com and our Facebook page, I mean. And it was an article about a man who had died, and in his will, he had it willed that he wanted his dog to be euthanized and to be buried and laid to rest with him. And I'm not agreeing that this dog should have been euthanized. You know what I mean? I love animals and all that, but two things clicked in my head. I'm saying, well, one, millions of dogs in this country are euthanized every year, perfectly healthy, sitting in a shelter because nobody wants them. And nobody's up in arms about that. Maybe some people that are real hardcore animal lovers. And then I'm thinking about it, and I'm going, wait a second. You guys are all up in arms about this dog that was euthanized, but you're okay with kids being killed in the womb.
Right.
It's a Holocaust.
And you're looking at these people, they're commenting and everything else, and I couldn't help it. I had to make that comment, and I did. And it's like and no one even responded to my comment.
Yeah, because they know that they're fucked up in that regard.
You know what? I don't believe that life begins at conception. I believe that life begins before the foundations of the earth, because that's what God said. He said, I knew you before the foundations of the earth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they all have, and people ask me all the time, what about rape and incest? And listen, I'm sorry, a life's a life. I mean, what do you say to the guy? And I saw this, there was a write-up in Breitbart, and it was a black man that was born out of rape. And, now he's this successful lawyer, right? And I'm reading his story, and he's talking about how every day he's told he's an abomination. I mean, how do you tell somebody that they're no good? Because, obviously his mother decided, and God bless her for doing it, I'm sure it was tough, to keep the child even though she was raped. How do you then turn around and tell that man that he's an abomination to God? I don't think so.
That's tough. I can understand. Listen, I mean, what a horrible, horrible thing for a woman to go through.
Absolutely.
Physically, but more so the mental and emotional abuse that puts on them for life. So I can understand a woman not wanting to have their rapist child. I can understand that.
Me too.
I don't like it. I mean, it sucks. The circumstances. That child certainly didn't ask to be conceived in that sense. But for the women that do, carry those children to term and give them up for adoption or whatever they choose to do, I mean, more power to them. I mean, they are they're probably very spiritual.
There's probably a large percentage of them that do decide to carry the child to term.
But I'm just saying, I can understand that there are times where there are exceptions to certain things.
Absolutely.
And we can have that argument. But I think that you either value life or you don't. That's the bottom line.
But again,
that's the bottom line.
But again, that's the red herring issue. It's rare, and we should
don't get pissed off about the dog dying, and then don't care about the kids being
killed. No, that's a good point. But in modern society, we're being recorded 24 hours a day. We're being spied on and watched through our phones and everything else, and so every rapist should be caught. DNA will tell you who the rapist is, and also we should teach women how to fight, and they should carry around little lady Derringers guns and learn how to shoot. And learn how to kick people in the balls and escape, But I understand. I understand a lot of people, do get raped. More men get raped in this country than women. Yup, it's true. In jails.
Well, that might be true. Listen, I know a lot of women that know how to shoot, kick people in the balls, and are pretty tough. So, don't be surprised. A lot of these liberal dingbat women that you may know, there's a lot of conservative women out there that would make you or anyone else I know crumble. They are tough girls, and God bless them, and most of them are Trump supporters. You
can punch them in the throat. You can gouge their eyes. There's a lot you can do.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
They don't need to do that. They're tough. They don't need to gouge you in the eyes. They kick you right in your fucking ass.
Yeah.
Listen, there's one thing that has to happen in this country, and we need to get tough on these crimes. I mean, all crime. We've gotten too soft. Listen, we have chemical castration. For these men out there that are repeat offenders, repeat rapists. Chemical castration or hell, physical castration.
What is
See ya.
What is chemical castration? When you dip their cock in acid?
No, no, it's an injection that they go and they get it's like every 6 months or a year they have to go in and get this injection.
Ouch.
And it basically it makes them impotent. They can't get an erection. But
I got a cheaper fix, bro. It's called a bullet in a chamber, and you just have to use it one time.
And then they'll come after them with a strap on.
Well, that's a slippery slope when two people are drunk coming home from the bar and there's a question of whether it was consensual or not.
Well,
now he has a bullet in his head.
Well, hold on. There's a slippery slope and then there's obvious.
Oh, absolutely. Brutal rape of that's no question. Absolutely. I can get on board with that.
The world is a dangerous place. There are no guarantees of anything. You take your chances when you step outside the door.
Fuck liberals. Listen, everybody.
I concur.
Everybody should come on Sunday and check out our show. And if you want to do it and you want to listen live, it's simple. Just go to freedomondeck.com. We're heard on WJJF at 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. Make sure you go to freedomondeck.com and click Listen Live, and you'll listen to Freedom on Deck. We're talking to Lady Denier. You guys know who that is, right? You know who that is?
No.
CV, who is that?
Wait, say the name again.
Lady Denier.
No, I don't know.
Ambassador Stevens.
Oh yes, the wife of Ambassador Stevens, right?
We just talked about this last week. We just talked about this.
All
right, so
it was all the
listen.
drugs I did as a teenager creeping up on me.
Yeah, no shit, you hippie. Listen,
hey, you're the punk in this group.
Yeah. Listen, Lady Denier is the fiance of former Ambassador Chris Stevens. You remember Chris Stevens?
Yes.
He was the ambassador that was in Benghazi that night. That was murdered, and we want to talk about what happened in Benghazi again, Brian, because what's important in the 2020 elections is that we remember that Benghazi happened under Democrat rule, Go ahead.
Some new information's come out about Benghazi and Stinger missiles and it gets deep, man. I'll talk about it on Sunday.
Okay. And then we have Don Brown coming on. Don Brown's a lawyer that's representing one of our great soldiers who might be he might be pardoned by President Trump. It might actually happen this weekend, but we're going to wait to see. But we're going to be talking to Don Brown about that. And then we have the one and only Xander Gibb from XRAD, Conservatives for Freedom, hashtag Xander Gibb, Xandermonium, the XRAD radio program. He's going to be coming on with us as well. And it's just going to be a fantastic show. It's going to be in dedication to all of our veterans and all of our troops for Memorial Day and how much we appreciate everything that those guys and gals do for us. We would be nothing without them. They mean everything to us. And we'll talk to you on Sunday. And make sure every Friday night to come here at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for F.O.D. Overdrive. Good day.
Friday night we'll be drinking Manischewitz, going out to terrorize Goyam. Stopping Shakens, screwing chicks as long as we're home by Saturday morning. 'Cause hey!